My name is Freaky and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. This time around we're gonna start with a very new kind of approach when it comes to tier lists slash guide on what units you should focus on, especially when you start out or you want to improve your account in general. Before we get into the video, quick notice as always, I do stream live on Twitch every single day. As of right now, you can see the chat besides me. So if you want to check my live for once, ask me any questions, feel free to drop a follow. The Twitch link will be in the description and then you'll see when I go live. Also, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, comment or subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It helps me out immensely and we will be able to grow even further. Without further ado now, let's get into the video. So let's start now with the actual tier list. So you guys know this layout already. We did do our PvP tier list a couple of days ago. And this time around, you can see the structures or the tiers we have here. So starting from the bottom, we have trash tier, self-explanatory, I guess. Special tier, that's useful units, kind of like niche units as well. That are kind of useful for PVE, for some type of content. They don't really stand out to a certain degree. Then you have useful units. Those can have somewhat kind of useful passives or decent skill sets and anything, but they're not quite good. Then you have good units. Those are good, but they don't outshine those units in the top, those top four brackets. And then you have guild boss guard. Those are units which are absolutely insane when it comes to guild boss scoring, a high ranking points. Passive guards, those are units which have insane and completely unique passives. Farming guards, I guess, self-explanatory, insane for farming, right? And then you have raid guard, which are units for demon raids, or yeah, basically demon raids. So yeah, without further ado, let's start off with the first unit already, which is, so we're skipping those two. So we start with blue demon melee. So blue demon melee, as you guys can imagine, he goes straight down into farming guard. One of the best farming units in the game. The only thing that is kind of holding him back is the stupid AI in the game, where it always prefers the first debuff attack and then to his actual peace attack. So that's the only downside when it comes to melee. Besides that, he's the hardest damage dealer when it comes to farming itself. When you obviously farm by yourself and not the AI, he is the fastest unit to use when it comes to farming. So straight up into farming guard tier. And now let's continue with Alpha. So Alpha here is a very interesting unit because he could fit multiple tiers. So he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, where I use him on guild boss where he's important. I use him his passive is really good. I don't use him for farming, but he's also very good for raids. So where I use him the most would actually be probably raids, I'd say. Because his passive is not that great. He's not that insane because of his passive. His boost is very good for raids. For Crimson, that's where he kind of shines. For guild boss, I don't want to put him into guild boss guard because he is not the most important unit in the guild boss team I use him in. So I'm gonna put him into raid guard for now because he's not just quite good, he excels in a lot of tiers, but the most in my opinion in raid guard. So very useful unit to use in raids, and also itself upgrade. When it comes to Hauser now, so kind of similar thing as well as with Alpha. Very good passive, decent in guild boss when it comes to mono rat team, and good in farming but not in raid. So he's straight up gonna go into farming. Insane units, probably second best unit when it comes to farming in general. With Lilia combined, his damage output is crazy. So he straight up goes into farming guard tier once again. So now we have Red Merlin. Red Merlin is probably gonna go into raid guard, I'd say. Then again, she's not really that necessary anymore when it comes to raids. When it comes to Red Demon, she's not really that necessary anymore. I actually will put her into useful because she's not a must-have anymore. Like, she's definitely not a must-have unit for raids. Like, you really don't necessarily need her. You can replace her with Gustav. Gustav is even better because of his peers with his passive. Her passive is pretty bad, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna put her into useful. You don't necessarily have to build her for raids. So let's continue now with Halbram. So Red Halbram, let me think about it real quick. When it comes for PVE, Red Halbram is actually, let me think about it. He's not really good. He's not necessary for raids, farming, passive, or guild boss. I'd either put him into good or useful. I'm gonna put him into useful because he doesn't really shine in like any content, but when it comes to like his damage or his rollback, he's really good there. So I'm gonna put him into useful, but not quite good yet. All right. But he can be useful in like a lot of content. So for example, right now, he shines in super boss. But yeah, I'm thinking, you know, about putting him in good because Merlin doesn't see much use. Nah, whatever. I'm gonna keep them both in good. So I'm gonna put Gustav straight up into. So that's tricky now because Gustav himself is, if we would have Kelleg right now, I would put Gustav into Guild Boss God because he's absolute must-have unit for Guild Boss. Since we have Einig right now, I would rather put him in good, since again he's not absolutely not necessary for Red Demon anymore. But he's better than Merlin, and I still rate him higher than Red Halbram because once again he's very useful for when Guild Boss is around. His passive is actually quite decent as well, so I'm gonna put him in good, and I think that's kind of a fair shout because again I'm kind of gonna upgrade this tier list with time as well because of new units released, passives kind of change and stuff like that, right? So let's say a new unit gets released and another unit benefits from it, so yeah, they can move up obviously. So for now he's gonna be in good. Let's continue now with Red Gallant. So Red Gallant, new unit released. When it comes to PvE, he's a single target damage dealer. He can clear buffs. Not really necessary for raids, not really necessary. His passive is okay, but he's not an insane passive. He's not necessary for guild boss, he's not necessary for farming, so he's not gonna go in any of those top 4 tiers. I'd put him into special, to be honest, into useful, to be honest. Not quite special because he's a bit better than special. He's not that niche, but yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's fine for useful. Maybe I'm gonna put him down into special. Not quite sure yet. When it comes now to Red Slater, Red Slater is an interesting one because Red Slater combined with Red Diane, King Fu Diane, is very good against Red Demon. Still, problem is he's not the first choice there. So the first choice of those 4 tiers, or like for those 4 tiers, are gonna be in there. Nonetheless, because of his passive and his combined with his special, with his passive combined with his like skill where he like debuffs, I'm gonna put him into special because it's a very kind of unique unit with what he does. So I'm definitely gonna put him into special. I think that's a fair shout for him to be there. Let's continue now with Red Ellie. So Red Ellie is once again kind of interesting unit. She does see use when it comes to like, if we wouldn't have rankings in super bosses, she would be an insane unit because you would use her on pretty much every single team because of her passive. So I would put her actually into passive god. You can use her, for example, in Crimson Raid as a 4th unit, as a backline unit, if you're still struggling like with HP. She's not necessary in Guild Boss, so no need to be there. She's better than Gustav, or like as of right now Gustav, so I think she definitely deserves a spot in passive guard, and I think that's a fair shout there as well. So she's a very good unit to actually start out with and slowly but surely build her up. We don't have Blue Jerry, we have Elioni. So Elioni, rare unit, first rare unit in the list. Not trash tier as some people may or may not would expect. Um, I'm thinking of putting him in passive god already, but at the same time he really starts shining once we get hell raids. So I'm not quite sure where to put him right now, because useful and good, he's not really useful or good. He's either special tier or passive god already. So it's kind of tough to put him into, to decide where to put him. For now, I haven't seen many people use him right now, so I think for now I'm still gonna put him into special because of his. I'm still gonna put him into special right now. I'm gonna put him into special right now because I don't want to put him into trash straight up because his passive is actually like really strong. But his passive itself is not that necessary yet and not that viable yet. So hence why I'm gonna put him into special for now. And keep him there up until hell raids come out, and that's when he will like actually shine because of his huge damage boost. Bon is straight up trash. Like, bad passive, bad skill set, bad ult, trash. No need to discuss that. Kane goes into passive god because he literally boosts your damage in every single raid. I'm not going to put him into raid god itself because it's not his skill set that shines, it's literally his passive. So he goes into passive, self-explanatory. So Gaffer would deserve a tier of his own. I'm not even joking. Gaffer would deserve a tier of his own. He shines with his passive, he shines with his farming for, let's say, book farming, he shines with raids. Nonetheless, I feel like he shines the most in raids. He literally sees use in every single raid team. So I'd still say he fits the most into raid god. So just keep in mind he shines literally everywhere. So yeah. Green Gareth. Let me quickly think. No, trash. In my opinion, trash. I have never seen him use. I've never seen him see any use, so I'm just gonna put him into trash tier. So Blue King. Blue King is now an interesting one. Because once when the game comes out, or like came out, and when you start out, King is literally the MVP unit for you. Thing is, King drops off so drastically and so fast, depending on like how fast you progress with your account. You don't see him getting used in raids anymore. You don't see him getting used in farming. You don't see him getting used because of his passive, neither in guild boss. So I just gonna put him into god. In the beginning, he will help you out immensely. And it's worth actually building him, but after, like, let's say you're through with the story and you've obtained more units, you don't have to build out King anymore. He's really not that necessary to build anymore. Lilia. So Lilia is an interesting one again. She has one of the best and unique specials in the game, but then again, insane for farming. I would love to put her in between here, but sadly that's not possible. But considering the fastest team for book farming and Gearstone farming, as I just like uploaded yesterday, I'm gonna put her into farming because literally with Hauser, she is the fastest team for farming most stuff in the game. So she goes into farming god. Red Ellihawk straight up into raid god. Like, amazing, insane for Crimson raid, insane for Red Demon raid. Nothing to say there. In my opinion, she, like, some people like even use her. Some people even use her still against Crimson, even for Red Eskers out. I'd still put her into raid god because that's literally where she excels, where she shines. And I don't want to put her into useful or good. I just feel like she is very good, and the damage output she has is, I'd say, fair enough to actually put her into raid god. I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna look into it, depending on like how we continue with other units placement. Freezer just trash. Valenti, Valenti for PVE is like interesting. I'm gonna put her. See, the thing is, Valenti is insane once we get Hell Grey Demon. Problem is, we don't have Hell Grey Demon yet. Passive God is kind of where she would be fitting now. She's also good for guild boss, right? This is a tough call actually. I'm definitely not gonna put into raid god because she's not there yet. Hell raids, we don't have we don't have hell raids yet, so it's tough to say either guild boss or passive. But then again, she shines in guild boss because of her passive at the same time, besides the rupture damage on her ult. So I'm gonna put her into passive god for sure. I think that's a fair shout, and that's the most fitting place for her as of right now. Red Gill. So Red Gill is an interesting now. And a lot of people are not gonna understand probably why, but he is the first unit for Guild Boss Guard. Quick short explanation. He is the key piece in a mono red team for normal and hard scores because of his ult. I'm not gonna go too far into the strategy right now, but look at his special. Try to understand why he could be good against Inek. Obviously, Inek has always like a buff on, right? So you go in, smash, mono rat team, obviously self-explanatory, and just kill, right? So yeah, self-explanatory, I guess. Continuing now with Twigo, instant passive guard, 30% HP boost for mono rat. Very, very good for guild boss. Very, very good for other stuff as well. Itself, passive guard, hands down. Blue Gil, trash. Blue Grimo, trash. Blue Diane. Let me think about it actually. Have I ever used Blue Diane in PvE? I don't remember. So with her attack, with her like one attack skill, she has rupture damage, which can be kind of useful. But like for PvE itself, and I don't recall her ever being useful in story. I don't recall her ever being useful. She's good because of like AoE attack. On paper, she seems good, but in reality, I'm just gonna put her into useful. Like we have Red Merlin in useful as well, and Helbram. I'm just gonna put her into useful. She's not special. She's not. There's nothing unique about it, but she's not trash. So special, useful it is. So Red Melaska is interesting. Before I started the video, I was quickly discussing Red and Melaska as well. So Red Melaska is very, very good. AoE attacks, and she has an insane passive. Problem is she doesn't see ever use, right? Thing is, nonetheless, her passive is quite basically unique, besides Goddess Elite, but that she's gonna come in the future. I don't know if I want to put her into passive god, because her passive doesn't really see use. It's kind of like the same with like Elioni right now. He doesn't see much use because we don't have like hell raids yet, and the passive on paper seems insane for Red Melascula. Nonetheless, I just feel like she's more of an honorable mention than passive god. Like for example, Kane, Valenti, Twigo, and Ellie. Those all see like really use because of the passive. Red Melascula doesn't. Yeah, literally the same. Literally the same. She has literally one of the most unique specials, passives in the game. Once she dies, you get like all the positive effects on your crew. So literally the same for Blue Goddess Elizabeth. Matrona, straight up trash. I've never seen anyone use her ever in PvE, and I don't see why you would. Blue Gila, hands down farming god. She's one of the most important units, if not the most important unit when it comes to like farming gold or books in the game. Yeah, once you have a 606, she will literally one-shot the boss stage and yeah, I don't think I have to add anything else there. Gold use, as of right now, I'd say trash. As of right now, I'd say trash. Red Jerry. Red Jerry, I rate her actually pretty highly because she has a very, very good passive. Is it good enough for passive god though? That's a question. Like, she also can dish out quite some damage because a lot of people actually underestimate Jerry. For example, I used her against Ifrit, so Jerry can actually be pretty good and a strong hitter. I feel like I'm gonna put her into passive. No, I don't want to put her into passive god. I'm gonna put her into special now as well because we don't have hell raids yet. Again, kind of like the same as with Leone. So I'm gonna put her into special yet as well. Passive really strong, not that necessary yet though. That's the thing. All right. Green Elizabeth. Some people still use her against Grey Demon. I'd say, I would just say arguably useful. She also gets rid of buffs. Useful or special? Let me think. She's not good because she's not on par with King and Gustav. Is she on par with like Merlin and Halbram and Gallant, or is she special? Tough call actually. I think I'm gonna put her into special now as well, for now at least. I'm gonna put her into special for now as well because she's very good for once again Hell Grey Demon comes out. For now she's just like unique and special, niche. Where are we? So Red Escanor. So a lot of people are actually gonna use him for guild boss, which I do get. Passive is pretty insane. Farming, and no one uses him for farming. He goes straight up into raid guard. Insane. Probably, yeah, he's the strongest damage dealer as far as I know for right now for Crimson. So he goes straight up into raid guard for now. Elaine. Interesting. Elaine. So she was useful against Super Boss King, but that's gone. Her only use is literally ult prevention, so but that's actually where she shines. And she also has a fairy boost. We don't have that many like fairies yet, or like let's say we don't have fairies that kind of like go very nice together. Like we have good units with like King, Halbram, but they don't go really nice together, and like we kind of need like a full fairy with like Luxinia, but Luxinia doesn't have a really good unit, so you get what I mean. You know what I mean now. And now this is an interesting one. So we have now Green Escanor, and Green Escanor, I don't actually know where to put him. I think his best shout would actually be guild boss. Because he's actually absolutely necessary for guild boss, to be honest, to actually get best scores. So insane damage output now with ultra gear as well, straight up into guild boss guard. So Green Gilfunder. Green Gilfunder goes into raid guard in my opinion. Together combined with like Green Halbram, he is absolutely insane when it comes to damage boost. You can use him on other raids as well. He shines because of his boost. His passive is useless in PVE, so nowhere near passive for farming god. Neither guild boss, and he's better than King and Gustav, so he goes into raid guard. Ellie. Green Ellie, I would usually put her into farming guard. Yeah, I think it's a fair shot. She has the pierce damage as well together with Lilia. So if you don't have blue Ellie, or you can use Green Ellie instead. Or actually now, wait, let me think. Yeah, chat also agrees. Yeah, it's tough to say because she sees use now in passive, because of a passive in guild boss as well. So I would put into guild boss god as well. Yeah, that's a fair shout. I think she's like one of the must-have units when you want to score really good in Guild Boss, so that's a fair shout for her. Green Diane, I don't even know what to put her, to be honest. Her passive seems good on paper, but like it's useless for PvE, to be honest. I'm gonna put her into trash tier. Sorry. Green Merlin. So Green Merlin is very good for Guild Boss right now. Passive, raids, farming, passive guard. Her passive is literally what makes that unit insane. Unique unit, passive guard. Griamore, trash for PvE. Insane for PvP, trash for PvE. Elliehawk, blue Elliehawk. Blue Elliehawk. She can be useful. That's, I think, where I'm gonna put her. But at the same time, she's kind of niche with her amplifying and solidifying. Or like amplify damage and the solidifying. But since I did put Blue Diane there, I kind of want to put her into at least useful as well. She's not good. She's not on par with Gustav or King. I'm actually gonna put her into useful for now. I think like she can be very, very good for PvE, but here it's I don't know. Tough call. King Fu Diane. Combined with Red Slater, you can lock out Red Demon. Besides that, she's never seen any use. And as of right now, she doesn't see any use either. So I'm just gonna put her. I don't know. Either special or trash to even. Tough call. I'm thinking I'm gonna put her into special as well. It's fair. We did put Slater there. It's a fair call. Now Barn. So Barn is interesting. So Barn is really good when it comes to farming because of his snatch. No guild boss, no passive. His passive is absolute trash, sadly. I mean, it's not trash, but it's not that good. Either farming guard or good is where he goes, but I'm not quite sure if he deserves farming guard, to be honest. So I'm just gonna put him into good because he's a worse option than all those in farming guard. So he's gonna go to good for now. Red D melee. So before Red Escanor, I would have put him into raid guard. Now with Red Esca available, I wouldn't even put him into good. You don't have to build melee anymore. Seriously, there's absolutely no need to build melee anymore. Blue Fat King. Blue Fat King is useful at best. Useful at best. I don't know. I'd say useful. Because of his passive. I'd say useful. Blue Merlin. Her passive is weak. Ranking down doesn't serve any purpose, to be honest. But special. With the level 2, you get the same debuff as with like with the same amount of debuffs as with like Slater. So I'm gonna put her into special. Red Nunchuck Barn is good. You can use him as a damage dealer against Crimson if you don't have Escanor, Red D melee, or Green Jericho. So he's gonna go to good for now. Green Barn, absolute trash. Blue Gaufer, trash. Griamore. Gives you defense, but that's not really what you want, so I'm gonna put him to trash as well. Hendrickson, trash. Blue Hauser, trash. Greenhouser, same, to be honest. Hugo, I've never seen Hugo ever use, so trash. Lilia is interesting now because of her passive. Tough call. I'd say she is she useful? Is she already good? That's a question now. I mean, 9 out of 10 times you will use someone else than Lilia in your team in the back line, right? So I'd say she's useful. She's on par with those units. Blue Jerry gets the same as with Alioni and Red Jerry, and yeah, passive, literally passive, but only really shines once we get Hell Raids. Jillian, absolute passive god, seriously, absolute passive god. She deserves it. She's useful, very right, like she's useful right now already. For Guild Boss, she's arguably a god as well because of her passive. So you could put her there as well. So tough to say. But I'm still gonna put her into passive because that's really where she shines. Because of passive, she shines in couple different types of content. Gallant, Blue Gallant, Blue Gallant is he can dish out quite some damage. I'd say I mean, he can, I don't know, this is tough to say. I'm just gonna put him into useful because he can be a quite strong damage dealer, in my opinion. If you actually build him. Rimuru, Ifrit is gone, so Rimuru is trash. Milim is trash for PVE. Jude is trash. King, Raid God, hands down, Raid God. Grey Demon, insane. Let's go to Marmus, passive god. Alrighty, passive god, really good unit. Same with Jillian. He already sees use because of his passive, so he goes straight up to passive god. Green King. Kinda want to give Green King the same treatment as with Blue Fat King. Yeah, kind of same as with Blue Fat King. Jerry, so Jerry is an interesting one as well. If we would have Kelleg as guild boss, she would be the guild boss goddess. So since we don't have this right now, and she's not really first choice for Crimson anymore, she just goes to good. It's literally the same. It's literally the same as with Barn and Red Demali. She is not first choice. No need to put her further up right now. Where are we? Melascula. I don't even want to put her into special or useful. This is tough to say, actually. She has all out AE attacks. She can be quite useful versus or like in training cave. I would say do I put her into trash? I'm gonna put it into trash. No need right now. So Green Melee is straight up special because of his counter. You can't put him into trash. He is unique because of his counter. There's no way you put him in trash. Dreyfus is with his passive. He's gonna go to useful. Daldry PVE. Daldry is special because of her passive. Once again, she can see some kind of use because of the passive. Barn. So Blue Barn is actually really good damage dealer against Red Demon, especially against Hell Red Demon also. But I don't know if he deserves good just yet. I don't know if he's on par with, like, I mean, if he's very well built, he can dish out insane amount of damage. But I don't know if it's okay. I'm gonna put him into good. He's literally the unit that is kind of built for Red Demon, so I'm gonna put him into good or rank him down into useful. We'll see. Blue melee is useful. He's actually very useful for demon, red demon. And now that I think about it, I'm also gonna put you down because once we get Hell Red, you're not gonna see that much use. For Hell Red, you use either blue nunchuck bond or you use Alpha once it comes out, blue Alpha. So I'm gonna move you down as well. So Red Gila. Did I ever see Red Gila see some use? Not gonna lie, her best use is that she's a fade. Like, she's a fade common, that's her best use. I'd say she's not special. I'd say she's useful. She can be useful. She can be very useful as a link. She's a very, very good link. Her passive is but she ignites. And she can actually dish out quite some damage as well with her ult. So I think useful is okay. Ruin. Ruin is... Wait, what is Ruin's? No, that's trash. Simo is trash. Tizer is trash. Slater. Slater is an insane unit actually when you build him, and that's the problem. When you actually build him, he's an insane unit, but I never want to put him into Raid God. I'm gonna put him into either useful or good. I'm gonna put him into good. Kind of like same once again as like with the 3 units beforehand. Now that I reach out as well, Ruin actually is gonna get moved up to useful because of Training Cave and his attack reduction. So that's a fair shout, thank you. Wineheart, Farming God. Farming God, hands down. Red Diane, freaking trash. Green Halbram, wait, let me move up. Raid God. Green Handy with his passive. He also can see some use. Like I've seen people use him against Super Boss King. I'd say useful, but his useful or good. His passive is very good, but it's not that insane. I mean, with Gustav, I'm gonna put him into good as well. He can see use as a fourth backline unit as well. Dreyfus is, I'm gonna put him into special because he has a 60% defense boost for red unit, so that's kinda unique, and it's decent. Rimuru is special because of his passive alone as well. Blue Arthur can dish out quite some damage. But not really that unique or anything. I'd say he can be useful. Like for Garther, for Super Boss Garther, he would be the meta unit or like one of the meta units, but if there wasn't the ranking, so Benimaru, trash. Vivian, she's decent in Training Cave actually, and locking out an ultimate is actually pretty unique. So she's gonna be special. Death Pierce. Death Pierce has a passive. That's insane. So Death Pierce goes to passive god. Hands down. We don't have those units with Dogedo. Dogedo goes... Dogedo. I'd put Dogedo. I'd put Dogedo into trash as well. Next one is Arden. I've never ever seen Arden used. I think Arden is okay. She poisons, he has AoE attacks, right? But the problem is with Arden, like he seems like he's good on paper, but he doesn't, like, there's always better options. The only thing why you want to like put them maybe higher, they kind of are an honorable mention with like some other units as well, but like Arden and Dogedo see use in reverse stage. That's why you kind of want to build them, but when it comes to like actually using them, they don't see a lot of use. So it's kind of like the same as, like, for example, with Hugo, Taizo, Jude. Sometimes you will like use them training cave, or for example like reverse stages, but you will never, like, besides that, you will never use them in general. We don't have those units yet. We don't have those units yet. We don't have those units yet. Are we through? I think we're through. That was the last units, right? Wait, let me double check. So I didn't skip a unit, but I think we're actually through. Yeah, we've done it. All right. This was actually, I think this was actually pretty long. Yeah, 40 minutes. 40 minutes. This took actually way longer because, like, with the PvP tier list, I didn't like go into every single unit. Here I actually kind of had to, because some units here are very, very viable. So let's quickly go through it again. Raid God, Arthur, Gauther, Ellie Hawk, Astronaut, all insane. When it comes to raids, that's where they shine. Same with like Green Gill, Green King, and Helbram. The best top 5 units when it comes to farming, literally Raid Blue Demeli, Hauser, Lilia, Blue, Gila, and Weinhardt. Passives, insane passives already. See a lot of use. SR, Ellie, Kane, Valenti, Twigo, Merlin, Jillian, Marmus, and Death Pierce. When it comes to Guild Boss God, we only have 3 because a lot of those units did go into different tiers, but Red Gil, Green Asker, and Green Alley Hawk. And then the units are starting to drop off with like Gustav, where we don't have Kalag right now, so he did drop off. King dropped off massively from the beginning of the game. And those are like basically all other units you would use for, like, for example, raids. Useful are units which are becoming more and more niche and have like a lot of like different units which are just straight up better than them, but they're still somewhat useful and can still see use. And special are very unique units which are gonna be viable in the future with some like passives or like with more newer content. For example, with like Elioni and Blue Jerry, Red Jerry, Green Ellie, and stuff like that. So they're very, very unique, or for example, like in a way with like Meliodas with his counter, right, for story, but not really much better. So, and trash tier, self-explanatory, just like all units that don't see ever any use. You could argue about like someone like Milim, who's also decent because we're all prevention, but no one uses her ever, and you necessarily won't have her 606, but you will have, for example, comparable Vivian 606 easily, and you will then rather use Lillian. Vivian, my bad. So yeah, this is basically the PVE tier list or units you kind of want to focus on when it comes to like building and upgrading your account. I actually do hope this helps, and actually people know what kind of they have or like could focus on right now. If you still have like any questions, feel free to just ask in the comments which unit you should rather focus on. I don't mind answering that. And yeah, that's basically it. I think it's been long enough, 45 minutes already. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, comment, or even subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely. And yeah, other than that, goodbye, and bye bye.